you young people. But we are in Jefferson County tired of young people running around here with guns. You put a gun to somebody's head. We're lucky you haven't killed somebody because
a teenager with multiple second chances, a stolen dirt bike, masked rides with guns, and a judge who finally says enough is enough. But here's the question. At what point does the court stop seeing someone as a troubled kid and start seeing them as a serious threat to society? In this case, prosecutors claim the defendant pointed a gun at a 14-year-old victim, stole his dirt bike, bragged about it online, and even mocked the traumatized victim afterward. What makes this courtroom moment even more intense is that the judge had already given this young man chance after chance before things spiraled out of control. Stay until the end, because the final sentence in this case stunned everyone in the courtroom.
Activity on social media, and if that wasn't bad enough, then she goes on to taunt the victim of the UUMV on social media as well. Judge, he is youthful. I'll acknowledge that. He does not have any adult criminal history, Your Honor. I will acknowledge that. But Your Honor, what he has engaged in is beyond the pale. He needs prison time, in my opinion.
This is where the prosecution completely shifts the atmosphere of the courtroom. Notice how they're not just arguing about one robbery. They're building a pattern of dangerous behavior. The prosecutor emphasizes the victim's trauma, the social media bragging, the firearms found in the vehicle, and the fact that this allegedly became entertainment for the defendant instead of a wake-up call. That detail about the 14-year-old victim no longer being able to attend public school anymore, that's emotionally powerful and incredibly important during sentencing because judges often consider long-term impact on victims. And let's be honest, bragging online after an armed robbery is probably one of the fastest ways to destroy any sympathy you might have had in court. Do you think social media behavior should affect sentencing decisions? Let us know in the comments.
But all of the guns and the riding around and so you're January 2019, you're put on January of 2019, you are put on probation, juvenile probation. You violated it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On your 7th time to violate, they finally sent you to TJJD, right? 7 times you were given an opportunity. You go to TJJD, obviously you're not there very long because you get out, and then in December of 2022, you commit an unlawful carrying a weapon, evading arrest or detention, and
the judge is now laying out something that defense attorneys fear hearing during sentencing: a complete history of repeated opportunities. Listen carefully to how methodical this breakdown is. Juvenile probation, violations, more probation, TJJD, another release, another gun case, another probation, and then allegedly committing even more crimes while already under supervision. In the eyes of the court, this stops looking like one bad decision and starts looking like a cycle that keeps escalating. That's why the judge sounds frustrated rather than emotional here. Courts often give young defendants extra chances because of their age, but repeated violations can completely erase the argument that someone simply needs one more opportunity. The biggest problem for the defense right now isn't just the robbery. It's the growing belief that previous interventions failed to change the behavior.
And all of this a little bit more is ask and get any incident reports that you've had since you've been in custody. And Mr. Chopin, I appreciate Mr. Lewis and what he's done and the arguments he's made for you. And like I said before, it really kills me to what I feel like I have to do to you young people. But we are in Jefferson County tired of young people running around here with guns. You put a gun to somebody's head. We're lucky you haven't killed somebody because that's the path you're on. You've had opportunities at probation, and unfortunately, those haven't worked. You've actually already had 2. You were sent to TJJD, you got out, you still committed offenses, and then you got probation again, and then you're here. So all this talk of I want to do right and I'm going to do better is just a bunch of baloney. The way you can't follow the rules in jail shows me same pattern. You can't follow the rules. So at this time, in cause number 23 DCCR 0993, I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of unauthorized use of a vehicle. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 2 years in the state jail prison. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. In cause number, and these were all just open. So in cause number 23, DCCR 0991, I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of evading arrest or detention with the use of a vehicle. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 10 years in the Institutional Division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. In cause number 23, DCCR 0992, I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of aggravated robbery. Sentence you to a term of 25 years in the Institutional Division of the Texas Department.
And this moment is massive. Even after handing down a 25-year sentence for aggravated robbery, the judge points out something many viewers may miss. The sentences will run concurrently instead of consecutively. In simple terms, that means the defendant serves the sentences at the same time rather than stacking them one after another. The judge literally calls it a gift. Without that decision, the total prison exposure could have been dramatically worse. But at the same time, the court also issues a deadly weapon finding, which can seriously affect parole eligibility and how the sentence is served. What makes this hearing especially intense is the contrast in the judge's tone. Harsh accountability mixed with genuine disappointment. You can hear that the court wanted rehabilitation to work, but ultimately decided public safety had to come first.
I take no pleasure in giving out a sentence like this, but I feel like what I have to do is protect Jefferson County from people like you, who have continued to show that you're just a danger and becoming more and more of a danger instead of learning from the opportunities that you've been given. You will be handed in just a minute a trial court certification in each of your cases that shows these weren't agreements, so you do have rights to appeal, and you can talk to Mr. Lewis about that. I hope you take advantage of any programs. You're still young. You're going to get out of prison, and you're going to be young still and have a lot of your life ahead of you. I hope what you do while you're in prison is do what you're saying you really want to do.
In the end, this case became about far more than just one stolen dirt bike. The court focused on a repeated pattern of weapons offenses, probation violations, escalating behavior, and the emotional damage done to a young victim. The judge acknowledged the defendant's age multiple times, but also made it clear that repeated second chances had already been given through juvenile probation, rehabilitation programs, and additional supervision. Ultimately, the court sentenced the defendant to 25 years for aggravated robbery, alongside additional concurrent sentences for evading arrest and unauthorized use of a vehicle. Yet, even after delivering such a severe punishment, the judge still expressed hope that the defendant could someday turn his life around through education and prison rehabilitation programs. This case raises a difficult question. When should the justice system prioritize rehabilitation, and when should it prioritize protecting the community? If you found this courtroom case intense and thought-provoking, make sure to like the video, share your opinion in the comments, and subscribe for more real courtroom breakdowns and jaw-dropping legal moments.